So before I officially begin Future Knight's video today, I would like to thank Boris Ayu again, the Adolfnik, Mr. Korean Guy, Hong Wen Hao, as well as Big Brain G for your kind donations during my YouTube streams. And thank you very much for all the past donators on my Buy Me a Coffee page. And with that, let us move on to today's video. So the initial plan was to include some Future Night footages at the start of the video. However, I realized most of the Future Night footages has some close relevance to World 11 stuff. So there will be a lot of spoilers, so I decided not to include it. At the same time, at the point of making this video, World 11.6 has not been open in the KR server yet. So I do not have the story mode or the story of Future Night completed. Therefore, you won't be able to see any story within the hero profile because you need to complete World 11.6 before unlocking the story behind Future Night. And Future Night and Knight, even though being the same person, right, based on the story, they are fundamentally very different characters because they have different chain skills, they have different party buff, and they have different skill set. So what will work on Knight might not work on Future Knight. So just to clarify, in case you guys think that, oh, they are actually like the same person or the same character, and it's been confirmed Future Knight is female, right? There's no male version of Future Knight, so please do not be misled by some weird internet sources around the internet. No male Future Knight, okay? But they might release a skin for it in the future, so we shall stay tuned for that. And with that out of the way, let us see how worthy is Future Knight potentially. So this will be the format for today's video. As mentioned earlier, as the story for Future Knight is locked all the way until you complete World 11.6, I don't have the story for Future Knight, so there won't be any story. But we will look at the stats, skills, as well as exclusive weapon for the hero. We will test the attack animation of the hero to see the strengths and weaknesses of the abilities as well as attack animation. Then we will talk about your usual PvP analysis, which is your Colosseum as well as Arena. Then I'll talk about some PvE contents which Future Knight actually excels at. Then I'll end off the video with some final thoughts and opinions on my end. Future Knight is ranked 7 in terms of attack, 34th in terms of defense, 8 in terms of critic chance, and 8 in terms of HP. So similar to the normal knight, Future Knight is also a master of weapons. She's able to equip one-handed sword, shield, two-handed sword, bow, and rifle. However, her primary equipment is actually the rifle. So her normal attack, machine gun, allows her to shoot a rifle in rapid succession. So as you guys can see from my multiple Future Knight video, she actually spams her rifle bullets. And her secondary ability is known as the Princess Amulet, which negates 1 damage take for 3 seconds. So the chain skill is known as Magiton Grenade, which is a very simple skill which does 370% DPS. And her special ability is known as Reinforced Bullet, which allows her to penetrate the enemy and inflict 50% increased damage by 50% chance. So there's a 50% chance that the bullet can do 150% damage. And on hit, this allows her to reduce basic type resistance by 20% for 3 seconds. And her party buff is weapon skill regen speed plus 30%. And this party buff is basically the same as Sohee, but in most cases, Future Knight is going to be better. I'll explain why Future Knight is way better than Sohee despite both units having the same party buff. Okay, so now let us move on to the exclusive weapon. So the exclusive weapon for Future Knight is Cosmic Destroyer. Other than offering the usual defensive stat buff as well as weapon skill regen speed buff up to 16%, this rifle has a massive magazine size of 40 in order to fit into Future Knight's playstyle. And the weapon ability is on hit, Magiton Energy explodes by 30% chance to inflict 50% of DPS and reduce the target's weapon skill regen speed by 30 seconds for 2 seconds. So this ability has a 1 second cooldown. So what this means, if you're able to hit your enemy consistently, you're actually able to proc this ability pretty consistently and do massive damage with it. And The weapon skill is known as Magiton Overheat, even though it has a very low DPS number, but this weapon skill has a super duper low regen time of 6.5 seconds, and when compared with Future Knight's weapon skill party buff, right, weapon skill regen speed plus 30%, overall you can see Future Knight spamming her weapon skill consistently within arena, and in most cases Future Knight is most likely able to chain your hero. And there's also a very high probability of Future Knight chaining your hero twice within the same arena map if you get caught out by the weapon skill without, preparing for it. And in this case, you guys can see that Future Knight is basically a heavy gunner that is able to do massive damage, but she does have a big drawback, and I'll talk about it in the weapon skill animation portion. So Future Knight's normal ability, as you guys can see, right, allows her to fire many bullets at one sitting. So one cartridge will allow her to fire many bullets. However, do take note that her normal ability does not pass through walls. So that could be a very huge drawback on certain arena maps. And her weapon skill allows her to fire this Magiton energy within a very short cooldown because of the 6.5 second cooldown of the weapon skill, as well as Future Knight's 30% weapon skill regen buff. Princess Amulet allows her to proc a shield, which is able to block 1 damage tick every few seconds of recharge. So the recharge time is 7 seconds and the whole shield lasts for 3 seconds. So you have a 4-second leeway to time your shield to block any attack. So just take note that the weapon skill, right, for Future Knight is able to pass through walls, but both the normal attack and the weapon skill is not able to pass through terrains. If not, this hero will be really overpowered in my opinion because of her shooting capacity. And usually it takes around 2 to 3 weapon skill in order to fully crowd control your enemy. So that's something for you to take note as well. Now let us move on to the Colosseum analysis. So I'll slowly scroll through the list and you guys will see that Future Knight is actually very dominant within the Colosseum when paired together with Future Princess. So I don't think I need to explain too much because the 30% weapon skill regen speed as well as Future Knight's ability to penetrate multiple enemies within the Colosseum makes her an awesome partner with Future Princess. Just imagine this. A 6-second weapon skill regen speed on Future Princess weapon skill is simply amazing when under AI controlled setting because she can just fire off her weapon skill and crowd control your whole team endlessly within the fight. And I myself have been on the receiving end many times, and it's indeed a super duper powerful Colosseum combination. However, Future Knight as a primary unit isn't really that fantastic because the weapon skill doesn't really have a very big AoE, and it's not a one-hit crowd control like Future Princess. So to be really honest, Future Knight being the lead is most likely just to counter Future Princess, but it isn't that amazing as compared to Future Princess lead with Future Knight being the partner. So that's one thing for the Colosseum side to take note. So if you ask me, the new Colosseum meta will be Future Princess combined with Future Knight and maybe 2 other units. So that's my honest opinion for Future Knight within the Colosseum. I'll say that she's a must-have unit if you want to climb into the top 100 of your Colosseum ladder. So let us move on to the arena portion for Future Knight. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture the rankings for the arena for the last week's weekend, so I can't show you guys any ranking. But from my personal experience, I think Future Knight is pretty decent within the arena because of how insanely easy it is for you to crowd control your enemy because you can spam it. And Future Knight is without a doubt the strongest counter to all light unit because of the basic element debuff as well as the ability to pass through walls with the weapon skill. So no matter where the light unit attempts to run, right, the weapon skill is actually very likely to hit it, and in most cases Future Knight can beat most light units. However, if you ask me really how powerful Future Knight is, right, she isn't really that amazing as a standalone unit. She's more of a unit that's able to power up your whole team. So what do I mean by that? Because her party buff is weapon skill regen speed plus 30%, she allows your other arena unit, especially Future Princess, Marina, right? Even Ogma to a certain extent, or even basically any unit with a very, very powerful weapon skill, it's gonna enjoy her party buff because you're able to spam more of your weapon skill, and that means that you're more likely to crowd control your enemies in most maps, right? So in that case, she actually empowers other OP units other than herself being powerful. So overall, if you ask me, Future Knight isn't really on the same power level as Nari as a standalone basic unit, but as a team arena unit, Future Knight is actually up there on the S or even SS tier for arena. However, there's one major drawback for Future Knight, and that is the inability to pass through walls and terrains for her normal attack. So on certain maps, if your opponent knows how to play, you can actually get kited really easily. And since Future Knight isn't really that tanky, she can't take a lot of hit. And there's really lots of dark units running around in the arena. You know, units such as Beth, Ogma is pretty common, and once in a while if you see Arabelle, this unit actually hit Future Knight really, really hard, and there's really no way for you to fight against them unless you just outplay them in the map or something. So that's my personal take for Future Knight within arena, and I shall just include some arena battles of me losing with Future Knight as well as me winning with Future Knight, so you guys have a better gauge of the hero in the arena, and you know, perhaps think of your own strat to run the hero. So that pretty much wraps up Future Knight's PvP analysis. Her overall power level within PvP, in my opinion, will be like S to SS tier, depending on how you pilot her as well as the map. And yeah, let us move on to the PvE content. So her party buff makes her a really good secondary unit to power the super powerful weapon skill for your leader unit. You can also use Future Knight as your primary unit because her weapon skill is really, really low. And with Future Knight within your team, right, for your PvE content, it means that you're most likely able to CC the boss monsters more easily, which will definitely increase your survivability as well as your success rate of clearing your story mode. And in my personal take, Future Knight is a must-have unit for your raids because she's amazing in both a basic team as well as a ranged team. Because her attack frequency is so insanely high, she's gonna benefit heavily from the critic chance buff, and her basic defense debuff from her special ability also makes it such that your overall basic raid team's damage output is increased tremendously. And having a universal weapon skill regen speed party buff means that Future Knight is relatively flexible in terms of team building, and being able to attack through multiple targets within your PvE content such as Camazon will allow you to clear the room much more easily. So in my opinion, Future Knight is actually like S to SS tier unit for PvE as well. So TLDR, Future Knight is a S to SS tier unit for Arena depending on the maps in my opinion. She's rated this high because of the potential team combinations you can pull out with her within the arena. Although as a standalone unit, I got to agree that she's definitely not as powerful as the likes of Beth or Nari or even FP, but she's an amazing unit within the arena nonetheless. She's also S to SS tier for PvE contents because she's amazing, but she's not a must-have if you're not planning to focus on raids as mentioned previously, or if you just value more damage over control on your PvE boss monsters. She definitely has the potential to become stronger in the future because the weapon skill regen speed party buff is so powerful that the developers had to limit it by setting it at the same value as Sohi. So this just shows you how much potential this unit can have in the future when combined with the likes of other units. Here are some reasons to pull or invest in the Future Knight. So how worthy is Future Knight potentially? As the main character of the series, Future Knight definitely has the power level of a meta unit as a whole, and in my honest opinion, her weapon skill regen speed party buff is such a powerful buff that I think 30% should be the highest cap as of the current state of the game. So this party buff means that there are many possible scary combos you could pull off in the future with the introduction of more powerful units next time. So Future Knight is definitely worthy of your investments in your long run. Plus, this is Guardian Tales, my people, so which means that this is Night Story, and that is sufficient reason for you to pull for Future Knight, and she's definitely worthy of your investments in most cases. Although I'm still kind of salty that there's only one gender for the Future Knight. And that's it for this video. Hopefully this video is helpful for you to know whether or not this unit is worthy of your investment, and let me know in the comment section down below if you will invest in Future Knight upon her release on the global server. And thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell in order to receive more videos from Zeeebo Gaming, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!